Hey all you submariners out there, this is Matt, and welcome back to my Cold Waters Elite Difficulty playthrough. This will be episode number 7, and so far we've spent 42 days at war and sunk a total tonnage of about 298,000 tons of shipping. So we're just going to continue on with that now. Still going rogue in the Barents Sea, trying to sink as many boats and ships as I possibly can. So we have a new contact bearing 192, and our heading is 157, so he'll be 40-ish degrees off to my right. I'm going to close to 15,000 yards and initiate this encounter. So right off the bat we get two contacts here, Sierra 2 and Sierra 1, so I'm going to classify them first, see what I'm dealing with here. Through, looks like a Victor of some kind.
Sonar
Victor
Sierra
1, I think.
2 is classified as submerged submarine.
Right now our contact, we're going to try to classify contact S1, Sierra 1, which looks an awful lot like a
Sierra
Victor 3.
1 is classified as submerged submarine.
So even though the Victor 3 is more of a threat as far as its capabilities, since Victor 1, Sierra 2 is actually a lot closer, I'm going to consider that to be my primary target at this point. I'm going to turn, even though I'm just about pointing in his direction anyway, I'm going to turn all the way to really point the contact. And I'm going to descend below the layer. I'm going to set the depth
350 feet, dive by.
350. Well, the layer's at 367, so maybe I'm coming down just above the layer. And I've turned to point the contact. Solution so far 41%. Range estimated at 6,000 yards, and it's way too close. So I'm definitely going to shoot at this guy sooner rather than later. So the weapon's on the way. I have the wire. It's about to activate here very soon. No sign that either one of these submarines has gotten that, has heard that. Although Sierra 1 is cavitating, so it's possible that he has heard it. They're not pinging me with any sonar or anything right now, so could be just a coincidence. So I fire weapon number 2 towards the Victor 3. Once again, no real indication that I have been detected at this point. Weapon 2 has activated. So right now, just a waiting game for these weapons to get out to the range. The Victor 3 has started pinging me with active sonar, so it's quite apparent that he has an idea that I'm here now. I adjust my depth now to go below the layer.
Sonar lost contact. Sierra 1.
Which immediately makes me lose contact. Sierra 1. That's not a big deal. He's still going to be generally where he was. He's not going to have much of a chance to move by the time the weapon gets out there. Weapon 1 is now getting pretty close to where sonar has the Victor 1.
Fire control, weapon acquired.
And yep, the weapon has just acquired the Victor 1. Still have the wire, so I'm gonna steer this thing in there if I need to. For right now, I'll let it follow internal guidance, but once I get close, I'll take over if I have to.
Regained contact on Sierra 1, bearing 202.
Sonar, I just reclassified the Victor 3 as being closer inside the range of the torpedo, torpedo number 2. I know that's incorrect. Has to be incorrect. My torpedo just passed through that area. If he was actually there, it would have locked on. And as you can see now, weapon number 2 has locked on to the Victor 3, which is farther than it appears at this point, which is out of the ordinary. Weapon number 1's now pinging active. And approaching the Victor 1, who's trying to get away at flank speed right now. Cavitating like crazy. Speed things up a little bit just for a second until he launches the noisemaker, and then I need to take control because then I really do want to steer the weapon in. Actually, at the very same time, the Victor 3 got hit, so that was kind of a that was a coincidence, I guess. I really wasn't planning it that way, but that's the way it worked out. The Victor 3 and the Victor 1 pretty much both went down at the same time. Wish I could say that was planned.
Come right to 179 Helm High.
So initially, I'm thinking I may stick around to see if there's any more targets, but now I'm decided to leave combat, and there was only the 2 submarines, the Victor 3 and the Victor 1. So I'll exit this this encounter and move on. I'll keep skulking around the Barents Sea here, trying to put myself somewhere where the MPA, the Maritime Patrol Aircraft, will be able to see me easily, because I want that so that the computer sends up people, you know, groups to intercept me. It's not always easy, especially once you're out here for a little while and you really start making a dent. They seem to be harder and harder to come by. Also, I believe once you start taking over more and more of the map. Oh, there's one. So we have an encounter bearing 190. I'm just going to skip right in here. So bearing 190. And our heading is 124, so
ring ship for ultra quiet.
About 70 degrees off to the right. Close to 15,000 yards, and initiate the encounter. We have two contacts so far, and I'm going to classify them first.
Con sonar Sierra 1 is classified as escort.
So Sierra 1's a Canaan. It's a like a destroyer, I believe, an anti-submarine type destroyer. And Sierra 2 appears to be a submarine, actually.
Con sonar Sierra 2 is classified as submerged.
And there's clearly other contacts. There's clearly other ships out here right now. You can see I'm getting pinged. I'm getting pinged from like maybe direction 235, something like that, and we don't have a contact for them yet, but we can definitely hear them pinging us. The Victor 2 got reclassified very quickly and is now appear to be very close. I'm going to have to take care of him right away. I don't waste any time firing on him.
Con, fire control, we've lost the wire.
And as soon as I fire, the wire breaks, which can happen sometimes, even if you do everything right, which in this case I am maneuvering, so it's more of a chance that it'll break, but doesn't always do that. Just kind of unlucky this time.
Raise the ESM mast.
So I've ascended to periscope depth, and I'm going to take a look around. See if there's anything I can see.
Make depth 458, dive by.
And around, I spot a helicopter in the distance.
Dive at 458, dive by.
And then I get a good look at the next surface contact right here. Then decide that I've seen enough for now. He's close enough that I can shoot on him, so I'm going to do that.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
Now that I got a good visual confirmation of where the cannon actually is, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to put a weapon down towards him too.
Con, helm, steady course.
I'm Master 4 still has yet to be classified. Kind of looked like an alpha, but I don't think so. It was just, you know, somewhat close, but not really. So I've gone through all the submarines.
Master 4.
And I lost contact before I could classify it, so I still don't know what it is. Although I gotta say, going by the sound of the sonar coming from it, it sounds like a noodleoid to me. But I guess we'll see. Alright, so the first torpedo I fired is heading straight for that Victor 2. Hasn't quite locked on yet. Now it has.
Master 4 is cavitating.
It just locked on. You can see that change of direction. Cavitating like crazy and trying to get away now. Now I still don't have, I don't have the wire on this one, so I'm at the mercy of the torpedo's guidance system. As you can see, the Victor 2 is actually a little bit farther away than sonar says. Not by a whole lot. It's pretty close. Weapon 2 is almost out to the point now of being able to activate. So that's the one heading for the Canaan. Now I'm trying to classify contact M3. See what that is. Let's get another Canaan.
Master 3 is classified as escort.
Con, fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
So the weapon on the Victor 2 is getting really close. He's launched a noisemaker. Now we'll just watch it come around. Looks like a pretty good shot. I don't think you'll be able to get out of this one. And that's it for the Victor 2.
5.
Now switch to the next weapon, the one heading for the Canaan. We can kind of see him off in the distance here. We can see him now in the middle of the screen. So this shot appears to be good, and it's locked on already. Homing. While we're watching this, we just noticed that the Master 3, the Canaan, is actually a lot closer than he appears. So we're going to have to deal with that real soon. I've just noticed that there, so I'm going to fire a torpedo in his direction. Pretty much down the bearing of the sonar signal.
177.
And since I do have the wire on this one, I'm going to steer it back in.
Con, fire
No
control,
messing around
weapon
here.
acquired.
So the torpedo explodes just below the hull of the boat, the keel of the boat, to snap it in half. That's the idea. So it doesn't hit the hull exactly. It tries to explode. So while I was watching that, after launching that torpedo towards the Master 3 Canaan, the helicopter showed up overhead, and he's dropping on me here. You can just hear him.
Passing 200 feet.
I got one torpedo in the water.
Passing 300 feet.
There it is right there.
Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing.
So we're going
0,
torpedo
4,
evasion. I'm going to go
2.
as deep as I can and go to flank speed. I'm still going to cavitate, but I'll still go as deep as I can.
Con, knuckle formed.
So we're just going to go back to the old torpedo evasion technique that I discussed in the last episode, which is go as deep as you can, as fast as you can, and then start shaking your butt at that torpedo. You want to make knuckles in the water as much as possible. So you see I make a knuckle in the water, torpedo comes around, spoofs the warhead, goes back into countermeasure homing, and I just repeat that process ad nauseum, really.
Con, knuckle formed.
At least in this way, you don't have to worry about varying your depth or anything like that. It does mean that maybe the torpedo will stay on you for the entire length of its run, but to me, that's not such a big deal. I'm fine with keeping it at bay until it runs out of energy. I've never really had that. Go badly for me, so I'm fine with that. And really, once you can keep the torpedo like this at a certain distance and not have to worry about it getting closer, you know, your take on torpedoes will probably change. You know, you don't really have to. If really most times they're not dangerous, then you don't have to stress about it. So meanwhile, that weapon that I fired continues on. By now it will have activated.
Knuckle formed.
And I can tell judging by the line of the torpedo path that I can see from where it was launched, it seems to be heading in the right direction now. And I can only tell so much going at this speed. I don't have it on sonar anymore, so it's hard for me to tell exactly, but it looks like it's going the right way. So that torpedo did finally run out of energy and self-destructed. As soon as it does, I
no longer cavitating.
Slow down to 5 knots, so I can get some of the usability out of my sonar back. We'll just skip ahead here a little bit to the point where the torpedo that I launched is finally about ready to actually hit the target. It has acquired. Obviously, I don't have the wires, so I'm at the mercy of the internal guidance on this one. When you pull the hard turn to the right, the torpedo was able to follow him pretty easily. Turning and burning. Drop some other noisemaker. You can see it there in the water. And pulls a hard turn to the left while the torpedo goes into countermeasure homing. I'm going to do a long sweeping turn here. He just delaying the inevitable, really. So it has reacquired. You can tell when it drops like that. Camera a little bit to get a good angle of this.
Contact master 3, last bearing 2, 1.
So that's it for the Canaan.
Contact breaking up.
Now you can tell by the direction of the sonar signal coming my way that the Master 4 is actually pretty much due south of me right now.
Con sonar regained contact on Master 4, bearing 1.
Not quite due south.
4.
So we do regain contact Master 4 at that point, so I'm going to classify it. Working through the surface ships. It is an Udaloy, which is a destroyer.
Escort.
Line up a shot. He seems to be, like I said, due south. I'm going to change my course so that I point at him a little bit more. Better chance of keeping the wire. Reload both the tubes that are empty right now while I'm at it. And then fire off this weapon. Eventually. Just waiting for the perfect opportunity, I guess. I'm not really super rushed. He was still quite a ways off. So right now I only have 6 weapons left, so getting down to an empty torpedo room here. I'm gonna have to start thinking about going back but not quite yet. There I adjusted the waypoint. I wanted to change the course a little bit, the bearing of it a little bit, so I did. Now we'll skip ahead a little bit to the end here, where the weapon has finally acquired the Udaloy.
Weapon acquired.
It just happened. Speed up time a little bit here, so that we don't have to sit through too much of this approach. Because I have the wire, I can steer it.
Fire control, weapon countermeasure homing.
So he did. I believe that was actually a knuckle in the water that caused countermeasure homing. Doesn't look like it was a noise maker.
Acquired.
So the weapon has him now, and there's no getting out of this. Man the lifeboats.
Con sonar lost contact. Master 4. Last
And that's it
bearing
for the Udaloy.
162. Contact
So
breaking
I don't
up.
believe there are any more contacts out here. I've been out here long enough that there was somebody else. I probably would have heard them. They would have come to investigate what happened. So anyway, we'll leave the area, leave combat. We sunk all 4 ships that were in this encounter. And I believe at this point I'll put a cut in this video. So thanks for tuning back in and have a great day.